Good morning and welcome to this Asia Scotland Institute webinar on Indonesia. My name is Doug Cook, the Institute Director, and I'm delighted that with the support of the Indonesian Embassy in London, we're able to address key issues affecting Indonesia in light of COVID, but particularly regarding its economy and trade, and the opportunities this provides businesses and organisations in the UK and of course Scotland. Before proceeding further, I should like to thank our expert panel, to whom we are extremely grateful. With us this morning, we have Mr. Tugio, who's the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Indonesian Embassy, who will be our primary speaker addressing Indonesia's response to COVID, its economy and investment opportunities. We're very grateful to you, sir. Thank you. We also have Mr. Dicky Kartikoyono, who's the Chief Representative of the Bank of Indonesia in London. He is a central bank professional with more than 25 years of experience. In his current employment, he covers Euro and African financial markets and economic assessments, as well as supporting Indonesian economic diplomacy. And finally, we have Mr. Ainsley Mann, Scottish Trade Envoy to Indonesia. He's also the chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce in Indonesia, an experienced businessman with a strong focus on startup operations, joint ventures, business development and government relations. Now, you will all appreciate that Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world. Its population is expected to exceed 270 million by 2025 and 290 million by 2045. Indonesia has a young workforce with 45% of the population below 28 years of age and a rapidly growing affluent middle class. Indonesia has successfully improved its prosperity over the last decade, and all indicators are that this will continue. So it's extremely fitting that we're studying and looking at Indonesia this morning. And to help us understand these issues, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Tugio, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Indonesian Embassy, to tell us more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug, for the introductions. Good morning to all. First of all, I would like to thank the ASEAN Scotland Institute for inviting us to, to have a dialogue on the Indonesian strategies to overcome the pandemics and beyond that. I think we encountered never before in the histories we see the economic shocks that bring a lot of headache in global communities like the one that we are now experiencing with the COVID. The COVID, is very highly contagious with a highly mortality rate. So it's of course international community stays to adapt with the new situations and take a lot of measures in trying to slowing down the progress of the virus. Next slide. But we see that with the imposing lockdown, social distancing, in addition to closed borders, certainly it created situations whereby the economy, stopped. These situations, the IMF said that the one that we have now, the crisis like no other, because of the global impact to the economy is very, very harsh. The World Bank, for instance, make a predictions that the GDP of a global economy will be minus 4.9%, this year. And also the World Bank also mentions that now we encounter the unprecedented situations which lead to global recessions, with the predictions to become minus 4.2%. The OECD is also predicted that the economy should be minus 6%. I think those because of the economy stops. Now we see that the pandemic has disrupt the global supply chains, which eventually also affects a lot of nations, including Indonesia. I think I remember these situations like in the movie The Perfect Storms, you know, the impact certainly not only impacting the health, but also social, economy, financials at, you know, at the levels that we never experienced before. Now, next, what does Indonesia do in trying to overcome, to address the COVID situations? Basically, with the strategy addressing three elements or three areas. First, we introduced emergency measures, which you see in the slide now. In terms of the emergency measures, we are already allocated 47.6 billion in response to the COVID. I think the COVID to bring extraordinary situations, which certainly Indonesians like any other country in the world also take extraordinary measures also to address the challenge brought by the COVID. The second measure, as I mentioned to you, the national recovery programs in the sixth priority. Next, please. Whereby Indonesia allocate a budget equal to 47.6 billion, addressing 6 areas of importance, not only in health, but also social services, and provide also incentive for business sectors, especially for the small, medium enterprise. I think you see there's a lot of commitments by the Indonesian government in trying to address these situations. As of today, for instance, the status of COVID, we have like 80,000 confirmed cases with around 1,300 confirmed new cases on daily basis at average. The total date, the fatality rates are 5%, with the recovery rate 46.5%. So that's the situations in Indonesia nowadays because of the COVID. Now the next slide. We always see that, you know, although the challenge by the COVID present us very dark situations, but you know, we see the light in the end of the tunnel. First, in the adoptions situations in Indonesia, because of the COVID, we realized that we have, we have to expedite the process of become domestically reliant on producing, the drug vaccines and reagents. I think with the COVID nowadays we managed to produce the PPE and start to import the PPE like the mask and also the glove, which some of those being imported to the UK. And I think the Indonesian government is also mindful of the importance of becoming reliant on domestic productions. We start to produce drug, and nowadays also we start in collaborations with several companies to provide, vaccines. We are now on the stage of 3 on the trial in producing vaccines with collaborations with other countries. I think this is one of the areas whereby we are also very keen to see collaborations with the UK, especially with Scotland, who have very high institutions on the health sector. Now, the second good news which I would like also to share with you, the import of Indonesia, and especially in the second quarters, actually rising to China, for instance, and import from China is also on the other hand is becoming we reduce the import from China. So I think in terms of the foreign exchange balance, we see the positive situations nowadays in Indonesia. In terms of the economy, we are mindful that the effect of COVID provide us a challenge in terms of the economic growth. The first quarters we enjoyed a surplus 2.8%, And on the second quarters also, we still expect the economic, which I think like other countries, we also expect to contract like 2.2 to 3% overall, based on the analysis by the Indonesian institutions. The financial ministers already make predictions that the economy will be contracted around 0.4, the worst case scenario, the economic growth, but the baseline for baseline growth would be like to 1.8% growth for this year. So that's the situation in Indonesia. I think the second good news that we would like to share with you, that the World Bank already upgraded the Indonesian status as upper middle income countries, meaning that I think this is acknowledgement from the World Bank with regard to the economic resilience of Indonesia in the situations like this. And another good news also, the governments continue to invest more on infrastructures. Despite the COVID situation, the government still made a commitment and still continue with building infrastructure projects that already been initiated in the last 5 years by President Joko Widodo. Another positive situation is also that now, because of the COVID, I think people realize that we need to expedite the process of digital economy or e-commerce, which in this regard, Bank Indonesia as a central bank plays very important roles in promoting digital economy in Indonesia. I think now with these situations, Indonesia also highlight the importance of the international community to find ways in trying to provide alternative for the global supply chains. We propose at the global efforts to have a platform for global supply chains on the health sectors. I think we learned from the COVID-19 situations whereby international community rely dependently on one or two countries. This is the situations that we would like to avoid in the future. That's why Indonesia has proposed that we have to have a platform for global change network to allow the private sectors to find alternative in terms of finding drug, for instance, or reagents or other PPE in trying to address the COVID situation. Now we still discuss this with several countries in trying to find ways, the modalities to have like a platform for global supply chains alternative. Back on the previous slide, please. Now, I think the message that I would like to send to you, that despite of the situations nowadays, Indonesia's with the commitments that we already undertake, we are ready to welcome certainly foreign direct investors to Indonesia. Especially we have the priority to 5 sectors: the health sectors, energy, mining, manufacturers, and infrastructures. Next. Okay, on the energies, I think President Joko Widodo already made pledge to to fulfill the lack of the energies which now facing Indonesia. We have like national target by the 2025. We will increase the use of renewable energies. In fact, I think another good story that I would like to share with you, we just got the grant from the Norway government, because of the Indonesian government's managed to reduce the emissions of carbon. This is in terms of the carbon trading, whereby the Norwegian government last week fulfilled their pledge because the governments of Indonesia met with the expectations in reducing the, but at the same time also improving the forest replantations in the forest sectors. Now, this is the area whereby I believe the Scotland governments will, and private sector in the Scotland will, will look at the situations in Indonesia, whereby there's a lot of potential to invest in Indonesia on the energy. I think this slide provide some illustrations, the capacities, the total capacities and the area of in Indonesia, whereby we want to improve further the power plant, be it the geothermal, renewable energies, or other like a solar and wind. Next. The other sectors also in the minerals, because we have, as you can see, we have some ingredient for the lithium battery. We see in the futures, with the new renewable energy or renewable industry, like nowadays we found that people are now converting into the hybrid car. In this regard, the lithium battery industries also will play a very important roles. Indonesia is very rich in terms of the nickel, copper, and bauxite. So this is the investments on providing or converting the nickel or copper bauxite to become a product that has a value added. This is one of the area whereby we also very keen to welcome the foreign direct investors to Indonesia, especially from Scotland. Next. This is these slides indicate the potentials of export nickel ore in Indonesia. But now we want not only to export nickel ores, but converting into something that have value added, like converting into stainless steel slab, which if we manage to do that, certainly we would be able to double the increase of export. Next. This map shows you the area. This map shows you the area whereby nickel industry is now being developed by the Indonesian government, starting Java, Sulawesi, Maluku, and in the eastern part of Indonesia. Next, also, as I mentioned to you, bauxite also, we want to have investors to provide value-added industries for the bauxite. So not only exploiting the bauxite, but also converting bauxite to become material for industries like the electrical, extrusions, pipe, foil, or automotive component. Infrastructures is the main area. As I mentioned to you, the governments of Indonesia continues to provide support to build infrastructures in Indonesia. These slides provide you a glimpse of national strategy projects in various parts of Indonesia, in Sumatra, Java, Bali, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and also Maluku and Papua, covering 15 sectors of the project levels and 2 sectors at the program level, comprising from road to energy, building port, water resources, airport, and so on. Next. In the manufacturers industries, I think we're now experiencing the disruptions of global value chains, and early pandemic of COVID, gave us a lesson learned, important lesson learned, whereby the country is very dependent on 1 or 2 countries in providing not only the PPAs but also the material for drug. That's why, you know, the Indonesian government now, we are proud to inform you that, you know, we managed to, you know, become more resilient in terms of providing national industries now being able to provide the PPE now in the vaccines. Developers also already, you know, entering the phase 3 of the trial in collaborations with other countries. Indonesian export, as I mentioned, to remain positive in the second quarter, but we are mindful also in the third quarter. This is the, you know, the main challenge for Indonesia because of the impact of the lockdown. The global economy lockdowns will be seen in the third quarter. Next, Scotland, we identify some of the area whereby we have some connections, and we believe Scotland investors in Indonesia would be able to assist Indonesia, and we welcome you to come to Indonesia on the renewable industry, for instance. I had a chance to visit Scotland twice, and I see, for instance, the wind power, you know, everywhere in Scotland, the coastal area of Scotland. I think this is one of the area whereby Indonesia is also very keen to work together to welcome the foreign direct investors from Scotland on the renewable industry. Life science, it's related to the health sectors. Nowadays in Indonesia, we work with China, Sinovac in producing some vaccines, but we are certainly most welcome if, you know, the investor from the Scotland wants to invest in Indonesia on the health sectors. The creative industry and fintechs, I think it relates with the nowadays situations whereby digital economies become more important. Indonesia just launched a program was called Bangga Buatan Indonesia, proud of the Indonesian's product, whereby the governments encourage Indonesians to buy Indonesian's product using the digital economic platform. The fintech and creative industry will be part of this effort. By the end of this year, we expect like 10 millions of the industries will be connected or join the digital economy.